Today, I'm going to be breaking down the gearing system in Arknights Endfield, specifically how to get the best gear in the game and what to do with it. We're going to talk about how to get that gear, we're going to talk about the RNG enhancement system and how to deal with that. We're also going to talk about what sets you should be aiming for. So, let's get started. The first thing you need to understand is that in order to get the highest rarity of gear, which is this yellow gear right here, you need to be in wuling. The level 70 yellow gear, the highest rarity, is only available once you make it to wuling, and that is because of the xiranite component. Xiranite is a resource which you can only craft inside of wuling, and that's going to be how we're actually making this yellow gear. As you can see right here too, it's going to cost wuling stock bills to craft this as well, meaning you're going to have to interact with the factory system inside of the game in order to actually make your gear. Let's actually teach you about that. In fact, the first thing I recommend when you get to wuling is to go to the AIC plan over here and then actually try to upgrade this, the forge expansion. This will increase the amount of forges in the sky you can actually have active in your factory by 1. So you'll be able to have 2 total, doubling your output of xiranite. This is important because xiranite is used not only for stock bills, but also the gearing as you saw there. With that in mind, to make xiranite, which is the main component for your gear, you're going to need these forges in the sky. In fact, let me just dismantle this whole thing and break it down step by step. We'll delete, and then we'll delete over here too. While doing this, we're going to make our lives easier. An easy way for you to do that and know what you need to craft, in our case, is we press the gear assembly, go over here to what we need to craft, and then we press this icon right here in the top right. This will bring us right here. If we press this little pin thing, it'll give us the actual formula for what we need to craft over here. So we need 10 xiranite and we need 10 of the packed original crust. So first things first, let's craft xiranite. So for us to make xiranite, we're going to need sand leaf and a lot of it. It's one of the main components inside of wuling. You're going to make a lot of these sand leaf factories. I'll break this down for you. You can see you need 2 aspects of sand leaf in order to go into a grinding unit. The grinding unit goes into a refining unit, and you're going to need water over here as well. Irrigation is a main system inside of wuling. Let's do this step by step. First thing we want to put down is our sand leaf production. So a nice trick in order to make sand leaf constantly is to put one of these seed picking units right next to 2 of these planting units. Back home. Let me move this here, and then we'll put 2 planting units right next to it. And what this does is it gives you a continuously outputting system that will constantly give you sand leaf, an infinite production of sand leaf. You can see I actually have this over here for the sand leaf I need for my wuling batteries that I'm making currently. So for you to get this system going, what you want to do is, well, I already have the sand leaf over here. So what I'll do is I'll take the sand leaf and I'll put sand leaf inside of the seed picking unit right here. We're going to power these up very shortly. But what we want to do is we want to connect these. So that way we have this connected right here. So you connect the seed unit to one of the planting units. And that way this planting unit and the seed unit will continuously feed each other. This works because every time you deconstruct one of these sand leaves inside of here, it'll make 2 of the sand leaf seeds, meaning you have enough output to go from not only one over here, but you also have enough output to go into this, which can turn into the sand leaf, which we are producing for the next step. Don't forget to put down your pylons to power these, like so. And now we have a nice sand leaf factory going on. This will take a little bit to go off. So that's the first step complete. We now have a sand leaf factory for that. In our case, we're actually going to need 2 of these because not only do we need the sand leaf powder right here, we actually need the other sand leaf powder to go in the grinding unit because we need both the carbon powder and the sand leaf powder to go in the grinding unit. So let's go ahead and just take this. So what I do is I press bulk action. I select all of these. I just copy and I paste it. I'm going to paste it like so. Now we have 2 of these factories. I don't actually have the stuff to craft them. All right, let's craft these. There we go. So now it's crafted. Let's go ahead and power that, like so. So now it's nice and powered. So you can see these 2 are going to feed into each other. And just like before, what we're going to do is we're going to take the sand leaves. We're going to put them in here, and then it'll distribute between these 2, like so. And you'll have an infinite running facility that is constantly producing sand leaf for you to be able to make the xiranite. Now, let's look at our next step. So we can see right here, we want the refining unit. We want a shredding unit rather, and then we want a refining unit. So we want to make it into the powder, then we want to make it refined. So let's go ahead and do that. So the first setup we have is right here. We have a shredding unit right there. And then we want a refining unit right after that. And this is going to make us carbon powder. So now we have step 2 done. What's the next step in us making our xiranite? We need to put both the sand leaf powder from the other one and the carbon powder into a grinding unit. So next up, we're going to make a grinding unit. Actually, next up, what we're going to do is we're actually going to make a shredding unit over here because you have to make this into the powder, like so. Actually, I have a shredding unit right there. Throw a pylon right here. And we have this going over here. And then we have this over here. This is technically not the most efficient. I should have 2 shredding powders going into it, I believe. I should have 2 of this carbon powder going in, but this gives you a baseline of how to actually make xiranite. So now, what's our step after this? You can see right here from the grinding unit, we do a refining unit, and then that all ties into the forge of the sky. Right here, let's go ahead and make our refining unit, like so. Here, that's going to refine it into the carbon, and then the carbon, we're going to put into the we're going to put it into the forge in the sky. Remember that on wuling, you can only make 2 of these, like so. Actually, technically, this should be like the other way around. But you know what? This is fine. This is fine. Here's what we can do. I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to put this over here, and we're going to connect it like so. And then we're going to use this pipe over here to connect over here. We'll power this on, and then we'll throw it all in a protocol stash. Slightly inefficient, but it gives you a bare bones idea of how to make it. One thing I forgot to mention is you're going to have to connect this to a fluid pump over here. Put a fluid pump down, and then connect the pipe over into the Forge of the Sky. That is because in order to make the xiranite, you need both carbon and the water to come inside of here to make xiranite. Now from here, if you have a better set of factory than I do, you can connect them together. Another thing you can do, oh, this one's not powered. One thing you can do is you can throw these into a protocol stash, and that'll end up storing it for you like so. I can have it come over here, and if I'm running out of room over here, I can start making these over here. So now we're producing xiranite. The next step in our plan is going to be to make this packed orichalcrust. For us to do that, we can just look over here. We want originium ore, and we want sand leaf. These two are going to combine together. We're going to shred both of them, and we're going to turn this into originium powder, and we're going to turn this into sand leaf powder. Those will go in the grinding unit. I'm going to make this thing over here. We're going to refine into this, and then we're going to refine once again into this. So let me go ahead and destroy this real quick. I'll make this later. And then we can see over here, I have two outputs for originium. I have a shredding unit right here and right here. Those are going into the grinding unit over here. The reason why I have two is because it takes two of these originium powder for one sand leaf. You can see even with those two, I'm still getting outdone by the sand leaf production. From there, we can see we put them inside of a grinding unit. So what's the next step? Our next step is to go from the grinding unit into the refining unit. We want to go to refining unit next. Actually going to delete some of these so we can get these out of our way. Put a refining unit over here. My factory obviously not optimized for this because it's not what I was planning to make, but it's fine. This is just a demonstration. You can go ahead and put this over somewhere over here or something. And now we're refining this. So what's the next step in the plan? We can just go back over here and look. The next step, one more refining. Okay, simple enough. Go over here, refine like so. Now we have the refining. Now we have the xiranite production, and we have the orichalcrust. Now I'm going to take both of these together and put them here like so and like so. Now let's see, what do we need to put these into? A gearing unit. So the last thing we need in our production is a gearing unit. Right here we have a gearing unit. Right there. This over here, so everything is powered. And like that, you can see as these pile in, we will now be making ourselves xiranite component. Now we understand how to actually make the components in order to get the gear. That's going to take some time to make. You don't get these overnight. It took me, I think, a few hours to be able to craft all my gear with this being made. So I wasn't fully focusing on it. Make sure, one tip before we continue, please set up two of these Forge of the Skies to make your xiranite. And also you can see in this one, I only have one carbon, but over here, I actually have two. You should be aiming to try and get two carbon inputs into here because it takes two carbon per one water. So try to aim for the two carbon inputs in here for the xiranite production, so we can get the most xiranite possible. It's the biggest gate over here for not only the stock bales, but also the components like that and the batteries and whatnot. I'm actually going to delete this because I don't actually need these anymore. I've already crafted everything. Who knew a gearing tutorial would turn into a factory tutorial? Anyway, let's continue. So we talked about how to actually make the gear. Obviously, you can use the xiranite to get yourself stock bales over here in wuling. I'll let you figure out how to do that. That's not quite what this guide is for. Now you figured out how to make the components. Let's talk about which of these gears are actually good. Now, obviously, DPS sets depend on whatever DPS character you end up playing. So I'm not actually going to dive too much into that. What I will talk about are the universal support sets though. Ones like this, external xiranite. As you can see here, after the wearer applies amp, protected, susceptibility, or weakened, other teammates gain 60% damage for 15 seconds. This is one of the most universal support sets, so I want you to have this one on your mind. I'll give you an example of some characters that can use it. Ardeli is a character that can use it. Gilberta is the one I'm using it on currently. You can use it on Pogranichnik, technically. Though, Frontiers did get changed from the beta, so I'm not sure if xiranite is still better than Frontiers post-changes. But basically, any character that ends up buffing or applying susceptibility and whatnot, xiranite is a very good and universal set for them. It's also worth mentioning that it has ultimate gain efficiency, which is one of the most important things for supports in the game currently. The other more universal set I want to talk about for supports is going to be this, Frontier's Armor. This is a set that not only lowers the cooldown of your combo skill, but it also increases the damage of your team as you restore SP. This is really good on characters who restore SP. Examples of that, you can see right here, I have Frontiers on my Arklight, so it's really good for Arklight. Oh, I don't want Pog on this account. Pogranichnik would be another example of a character who could use it. Akakuri is another example of a character who could technically use it. You could even throw that on like an Alash. So any character that restores SP, that's another good universal supportive set. Outwork specifically is best in slot for Levitate, so that's a good set there. Bolster Labs is the set that Perlica uses. And the rest of these are going to be like more situational depending on whatever DPS you're playing. Like Sword Mancy over here, Sword Mancer rather, is over there for Chen, since I know there's a lot of Chen enjoyers. I'll trust you guys can look that up, but there's one more aspect of the gearing I want to talk about. Over here, artificing. So you'll see I have this third set over here. You unlock this once you get into wuling, and I believe do one of the quests over here. and you have the option of artificing your stats on your gear. The way you actually artifice is you take gear of the same exact thing, meaning you're going to have to craft even more of these gear pieces, and you throw it in the piece and it'll increase the stats of your gear at a chance. You can see right down here, it costs a wuling artificing catalyst. And the way you get these is you go over here to the stock redistribution. Now, these things are expensive as hell. I will buy a singular one. I will brick my account for that, even though I shouldn't be buying these, but I'll do that just for you guys. That means you guys got to like, comment, and subscribe for that. I'm begging you. All right, let me go ahead and craft one of these. We got that. Now we go back to artificing, and we're going to go over to, where's my chest? Right here. So we're going to artifice. You can see I have one of these. I throw this. Did I not buy the, did I not buy the ticket? I bought an engraving print. Dude, that's not the, I bought the wrong thing. That's not what the artificing thing is, bro. What am I doing? All right, I'm not locked in. I'm not locked in. I'm not locked in. These are the artificing things right here. The artificing catalyst. I bought the wrong thing, dude. I'm leaving that in the video because it's funny. All right, I'll buy one of these. All right, we go over here and we go to Aviwana's gear, and we actually have the artificing catalyst this time. You can see right here, you can go ahead and artifice like so. Artificing successful. You'll see we actually got lucky and we ended up getting it there, but it's not a guarantee every single time. The bar right here gets filled as you use more of these. In fact, let me go ahead and grab one more, even though I said I wasn't going to break my account. But that bar will fill up as you put more of the gear inside of there. Let me go ahead and grab one of these one more time. In fact, you know what? I'll grab 3. Let's grab 3. Craft 3 more of these. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now let's go to artificing again. So here we select gear. Saved. Yeah, you can see right there. So I didn't actually succeed in getting it. There's a small chance it will succeed. Right there, I gained progress. So this is 1 out of 12. So that means I'll need to do 12 times for it to guarantee. Yeah, saved. So the last one was actually 1 in 6, so I guess I got lucky. You can see right here, I had to go all the way to 12. It is actually a really insane grind. This is the main reason you're grinding for stock bills. I kind of just bricked my account a little bit right there, buying those. But that gives you a general idea of how to actually artifice inside of here. What that's really useful for is for stats like, say, ultimate gain efficiency, as I mentioned before. If you're playing like supportive characters and whatnot, this can be really useful for them. So something to keep in mind. Hopefully you understand the gearing system inside of Endfield just a little bit more. You understand how to actually get the good gear. TLDR, go to wuling, make 2 Forges of the Skies, get your xiranite productions up, and then don't worry about artificing until your turbo omega endgame, because that shit is gonna break your account. Like, comment, subscribe. Check me out live at twitch.tv/Rhinne, and you can check out some other guides somewhere over here. I don't know, they're bangers. They're all bangers, bro. My channel's a banger. Subscribe.